The coin was dirty. It was a 1995 Washington quarter, scratched on the eagle's wing, sticky with something that looked like grape soda. To the rest of the world, it was 25 cents. It couldn't buy a newspaper. It couldn't buy a pack of gum. But on a rainy Tuesday in November 1998, that dirty quarter purchased a destiny. It bought a seat on the number 42 crosstown bus. It bought a ticket out of the ghetto. It bought an empire of steel and jet fuel worth $3 billion. Maya, 11 years old and shivering in a coat that was more holes than wool, held the coin in her frozen fist. She had found it in a gutter 3 days ago. It was her bus fare home. It was the only reason she wouldn't have to walk 6 miles through the dangerous territory of the South Side. But as she stood at the bus stop, watching the rain turn the street into a river of gray sludge, she saw the boy. Lau, the white ghost of 8th Street. He was pacing, frantic. He looked like a trapped animal. He was wearing a suit that was clearly borrowed. The sleeves were too short, the pants hemmed with duct tape. He was clutching a plastic folder to his chest like a shield. He was crying, but trying to hide it. The bus was coming. The rumble of its diesel engine shook the pavement. Leo checked his pockets for the 100th time. Nothing. He had a hole in his pocket. His fare was gone. Maya knew what was in that folder. Everyone knew. It was the scholarship application for the St. Regis Academy. If Leo got to the interview across town by 4 p.m., he had a chance to become something other than a casualty of the neighborhood. If he missed the bus, he missed the interview. If he missed the interview, he stayed here. Forever. The bus screeched to a halt. The doors hissed open. The driver, a man with a face like a bulldog, glared down at them. Pay or walk, the driver barked. I ain't got all day. Leo stepped forward. Sir, please, his voice cracked. I lost my fare. I have an interview. I'm smart. I promise I'll mail you the money. Just let me ride. No cash, no ride. The driver reached for the lever to close the door. Leo's shoulders collapsed. The light in his eyes, that tiny, fragile spark of hope, died instantly. He turned away, ready to walk back into the darkness. Maya didn't think. She didn't calculate. She just moved. Wait. She stepped up. She slammed the sticky, scratched quarter onto the metal tray. It rang out like a church bell. Clang. One fare, Maya said. She pointed at Leo. For him, Leo froze. He looked at the coin. Then he looked at Maya. He saw a skinny black girl with braids that were unraveling and shoes that were held together by prayer. Maya, no Leo Guisperth. That's your ride home. It's 6 miles. It's pouring. I like walking, Maya lied. She smiled, but her eyes were already terrified of the cold. Go. Get that scholarship. Get famous. Then you can buy me a limo. I promise. Leo choked out, tears mixing with the rain on his face. I swear to God, Maya, I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back 1,000,000 times. Just go. She shoved him onto the bus. The doors hissed shut. Leo ran to the back window. As the bus pulled away, spewing black smoke, he watched her. He watched Maya pull her thin coat tighter. He watched her turn around and start walking into the wall of rain. She looked so small, so fragile. The image burned into his retinas. It would haunt his nightmares for 20 years. The girl in the rain. The girl who walked 6 miles in a storm so he could fly. Leo made it to the interview. He got the scholarship. He went to Harvard. He built Atlas Transport, the largest logistics company in the hemisphere. He conquered the world. But Maya? Maya just walked, and the rain never really stopped falling on her life. 20 years later, Leo Sterling woke at 3:55 a.m. The alarm on his phone was set for 4 o'clock, but Leo didn't need alarms. Anxiety was a better clock. He lay in the center of a California king bed that cost $40,000. The sheets were Egyptian cotton, 1,000 thread count, cool and smooth as ice. The room was massive, soundproofed, and dark. It was the master suite of a penthouse overlooking the private airstrip at Teterboro Airport. Leo sat up. He was 31 now. The scrawny boy in the taped-up suit was gone. In his place was a man carved from granite. Broad shoulders, tailored silk pajamas, eyes the color of a stormy sea. He was handsome, in a way a shark is handsome. Dangerous, efficient, cold. He walked to the window. Down below, on the tarmac, his fleet was waiting. 3 Gulfstream G650 jets, a line of black SUVs, a warehouse full of trucks that moved goods across 40 countries. He owned the movement. If something moved in this city, Leo Sterling got a cut of it. He pressed a button on the wall. The espresso machine in the kitchen started grinding beans. He didn't have a wife to wake up to. He didn't have kids. He had employees, he had shareholders, and he had the ghost. The ghost visited him every morning while he drank his coffee. Leo stood in his kitchen, a sterile laboratory of white marble and chrome, and opened the drawer of his desk. He didn't keep cash there. He didn't keep a gun. He kept a small velvet box. He opened it. Inside lay a coin. Not the original one. That was gone, dropped into a bus fare box 20 years ago. This was a replica, a 1995 Washington quarter. He had spent 5 years tracking down a mint-condition coin from that specific year. He had it polished. He had it framed in velvet. He touched the cold metal. "Where are you?" he whispered. He had tried. God knows he had tried. After Harvard, after the first million, he went back to the old neighborhood. He drove a Bentley down 8th Street. He hired 3 different private investigators. Report number 1. The building was demolished in 2005. Report number 2. No forwarding address for the Williams family. Report number 3. It's a dead end, Mr. Sterling. People like that, they just disappear. People like that. The phrase made Leo want to burn the world down. People like that were the ones who saved him. He slammed the drawer shut. Enough. Sentimentality was inefficient. Today was a big day. He was inspecting the new flagship jet, the Atlas I. It was a flying palace designed for heads of state. He needed it to be perfect. He dressed in silence. A navy blue bespoke suit from Savile Row. A white shirt, starched stiff. Cufflinks made of meteorite. He looked in the mirror. He looked powerful. He looked like a king. But inside, he was still the boy on the bus stop, searching his pockets for a quarter that wasn't there. 5 miles away, in a basement apartment that smelled of damp concrete and boiled cabbage, Maya Williams woke up. She didn't wake up to silence. She woke up to the sound of coughing. "Mama," a small voice called out. Maya shot out of bed. Her back seized up, a spasm of pain she had lived with for 10 years. Cleaning floors did that to you. Scrubbing toilets did that to you. "I'm here, baby," Maya whispered, rushing to the cot in the corner. Her daughter, Zoe, 8 years old, was sitting up, clutching a ragged stuffed bear. Zoe had asthma. The damp air in the basement was poison to her lungs, but it was the only place they could afford. The rent was $600. Maya made $580 a month after paying for Zoe's inhalers. The math never worked. It hadn't worked for 20 years. Maya touched Zoe's forehead. "Cool. No fever. Just the cough." "I'm okay," Zoe wheezed. "You gonna be late?" Maya looked at the cheap plastic clock on the wall. 4:30 a.m. "Oh no," Maya gasped. She was supposed to be at the hangar by 5:30. It was a strict shift. The cleaning crew for Atlas Transport was run by a supervisor named Mr. Gorski, a man who seemed to derive sexual pleasure from firing single mothers. "I have to run, baby," Maya said, scrambling to put on her uniform. It was a gray jumpsuit, shapeless and ugly, with the Atlas Transport logo on the chest, a globe held up by a titan. Leo's logo. Maya didn't know the CEO. She just knew he was rich, and she was dirt. She grabbed a piece of toast, kissed Zoe on the forehead, and ran out the door. Mrs. Patterson is upstairs if you need anything, she yelled back. Maya ran to the bus stop. The same routine. Every morning. Run. Wait. Ride. Scrub. But today, the universe had a cruel joke to play. When Maya got to the bus stop, a crowd was gathered. Grumbling. Checking watches. What's happening? Maya asked an old man. Bus broke down, the man spat. Driver said the axle snapped. Next one ain't coming for an hour. Maya felt the blood drain from her face. An hour. If she was an hour late, Gorski would fire her. If she lost this job, she couldn't pay the rent. If she couldn't pay the rent, they were on the street. If they were on the street, Zoe would get sicker. Panic, cold and sharp, pierced her chest. She checked her pockets. She had $3. Not enough for a taxi. Not enough for an Uber. She looked down the long, gray road toward the airport. It was 6 miles. 6 miles. A memory flashed in her mind. 1918. A boy with terrified eyes. A quarter ringing on a metal tray. I like walking. Maya laughed. A dry, hysterical sound. I guess I still like walking, she whispered to the empty street. She tightened the laces on her cheap sneakers. They were worn out at the heel. They would give her blisters within the first mile. She didn't care. She had a daughter to feed. Maya started to run. She ran past the bodegas. She ran past the highway on-ramps. She ran until her lungs burned and her legs felt like lead. The sun began to rise, painting the sky in colors she was too tired to appreciate. Sweat soaked her gray jumpsuit. She reached the perimeter of Teterboro Airport at 5:25 a.m. Her chest was heaving. Her feet were screaming in agony. But she made it. She flashed her badge at the security gate. The guard looked at her sweat-drenched face. You run a marathon, Maya? Something like that, she wheezed. Let me in. She sprinted across the tarmac toward Hangar 4. The massive hangar doors were open. Inside, sitting like a sleeping beast, was the jet. The Atlas One. It was sleek, black, and silver. It looked like money. Maya grabbed her cleaning cart. She checked the schedule. Task: detail the master cabin. The CEO is inspecting at 6 a.m. She had 25 minutes to clean a plane that was bigger than her entire apartment building. Move, Maya, move, she chanted to herself. She boarded the jet. The interior smelled of new leather and sandalwood. It was disgusting how rich it smelled. She started scrubbing. She polished the gold cup holders. She vacuumed the cashmere carpets. She wiped down the mahogany tables. She was exhausted. Her hands shook. At 5:55 a.m., she was finishing the bathroom. She was on her knees, scrubbing the marble sink. She stood up, dizzy. She reached into her pocket to get a tissue to wipe her sweat. As she pulled her hand out, something fell. It wasn't a tissue. It was her good luck charm, the only thing of value she owned. A coin, a 1995 Washington quarter. It hit the marble floor. Clang. It rolled. It kept rolling. Out of the bathroom. Down the aisle of the master cabin. Maya gasped. No. She chased it. She scrambled on her hands and knees down the plush carpet. The coin rolled under the leather captain's chair. Maya reached for it. She stretched her arm as far as it would go. Her fingers brushed the cold metal. Got you, she whispered. What are you doing? The voice came from above. It was deep, baritone, and terrifyingly cold. Maya froze. She was on her hands and knees, half under a chair, in the private jet of the most powerful man in the city. She slowly pulled herself out. She sat back on her heels, clutching the dirty quarter in her hand. She looked up. Standing over her was a man in a navy blue suit. He looked like a statue. He looked like he could buy her life and sell it for scraps without blinking. It was him, the CEO. Leo Sterling stared down at the cleaning woman. He was annoyed. The inspection was supposed to be solitary. He hated seeing the staff. He hated being reminded that actual humans had to scrub his toilets. I said, Leo repeated, his voice dropping an octave. What are you doing under my chair? Maya scrambled to her feet. She was shaking. She clutched the coin to her chest. I'm sorry, sir. I'm so sorry. I dropped something. I was just finishing. Please don't fire me. I have a daughter. I ran 6 miles to get here because the bus broke down and... Leo stopped listening. He didn't hear the apology. He didn't hear the plea about the daughter. He heard the phrase, I ran 6 miles. The air left the cabin. The sound of the hangar outside vanished. Leo felt a buzzing in his ears. He looked at the woman, really looked at her. She was older now. Her face was lined with exhaustion. Her hair was hidden under a hairnet. She wore a shapeless gray uniform. But the eyes, large, dark, defiant even in fear. And her hands, she was clutching something tightly in her fist. What is in your hand? Leo whispered. Maya flinched. She opened her fist slowly. It's nothing, sir. Just a quarter. It's my lucky quarter. I found it years ago. I am sorry. She held it out. Leo looked down. There, resting on the calloused, chemical-burned palm of the cleaning lady, was a dirty, scratched 1995 Washington quarter. It had a scratch on the eagle's wing. It looked sticky, like it had once been covered in grape soda. Leo's heart stopped. It literally skipped a beat, then hammered against his ribs like a bird trying to break a cage. He reached out. His hand, usually steady enough to sign billion-dollar contracts, was trembling violently. He picked up the coin. He remembered the weight. He remembered the scratch. He looked up at her face. He stripped away the uniform, the wrinkles, the hairnet. He saw the braids. He saw the coat with holes. He saw the rain. Maya. The name came out as a broken sound. A plea. Maya blinked. She stepped back, confused. Ow, how do you know my name? It's not on my badge. Leo couldn't breathe. He took a step toward her. He felt like falling to his knees. You walked, Leo whispered. You walked 6 miles. Maya looked at him like he was crazy. Yes, sir. The bus broke down. I couldn't be late. No, Leo said, his eyes filling with tears that shocked him. Not today. 20 years ago. You walked 6 miles in the rain so I could take the number 42 bus. You gave me this quarter. Maya went still. She stared at the man in the suit. The millionaire. The king of the world. She looked at his eyes. The stormy sea eyes. A memory unlocked. A boy in a taped-up suit. Crying at a bus stop. Leo, she whispered. Ghost boy. The silence that followed was louder than a jet engine. It was the sound of a 20-year-old debt finally crashing down to earth. Leo didn't speak. He couldn't. He just gripped the quarter so tight it cut into his skin. He looked at the woman who was scrubbing his toilet, the woman he had been searching for in castles and penthouses while she was here in the dirt cleaning up after him. You found me, he choked out. I work for you. Maya stammered, the absurdity hitting her. No, Leo said. The ice in his voice was gone, replaced by fire. No, Maya, you don't work for me. He dropped the coin into his pocket and grabbed her hand. You own this plane? Maya pulled her hand back as if burned. Own the plane. She laughed, a nervous, terrified sound. Sir, please, stop making fun of me. If Mr. Gorski finds me sitting here, he'll dock my pay. I need to finish the bathroom. She reached for her scrub brush. Leo grabbed it first. He looked at the cheap plastic bristles. He looked at her raw, red hands. A fury darker than oil rose in his chest. You're done cleaning, Leo said. His voice was low, vibrating with a command that made boardrooms tremble. You are done cleaning forever. He took the brush and threw it into the trash. Clatter. Come with me, he said. I can't. Maya backed away. My shift isn't over. My daughter, she needs asthma medicine. I can't lose this job, Leo. Please. I don't know what game you're playing, but I can't afford to play it. Leo stopped. The mention of the daughter hit him like a physical blow. She has a child. She's trapped. I'm not playing, Leo said. He took off his navy suit jacket. It was Italian silk, worth $5,000. He wrapped it around Maya's shoulders. It engulfed her gray, sweat-stained jumpsuit. It smelled of power and safety. "We're going to see your daughter. Now." He guided her out of the plane. The morning sun hit them. The tarmac was buzzing with activity. Baggage handlers, mechanics, security. They all stopped. They stared. They saw the CEO of Atlas Transport walking next to a cleaning lady. He was holding her arm like she was royalty. Mr. Gorski, the cleaning supervisor, came running. He was a red-faced man with a clipboard and a cruelty problem. "What is this?" Gorski shouted, running up to them. "Maya, what are you doing? You're unauthorized to be on the tarmac. And why are you wearing Mr. Sterling's jacket?" He turned to Leo, sweating. "Mr. Sterling, I am so sorry. This woman is incompetent. I'll fire her immediately. Give me your badge, Maya." Gorski reached for the ID badge clipped to Maya's chest. Leo's hand shot out. He caught Gorski's wrist in midair. He squeezed. Gorski gasped, dropping his clipboard. "Touch her," Leo whispered, leaning in close, his eyes dead and cold. "And you will never work in this hemisphere again." Gorski froze. "Sir, she isn't fired," Leo said, releasing the wrist with a shove. "You are. Pack your things. If you're still on my airport property in 10 minutes, I'll have you arrested for trespassing." Leo didn't wait for a response. He led Maya to the line of black SUVs waiting by the jet. A driver opened the door. "Get in," Leo said. Maya hesitated. She looked at the luxury car. She looked at her dirty sneakers. "I'll dirty the carpet," she whispered. The shame was ingrained in her. 20 years of being told she was dirt. Leo looked at her. "Maya, you bought this car. You bought this airport. Get in." She got in. The door closed, shutting out the noise of the world. The silence was heavy. "Where to?" the driver asked. "Home," Maya said instinctively. Then she looked at Leo. "I mean, my apartment. 8th Street. The basement." The drive took 40 minutes. Leo didn't speak. He just watched her. He watched her hands twisting the fabric of his jacket. He watched the way she kept checking the time, worried about her daughter. They arrived at 8th Street. It hadn't changed much in 20 years. It was still broken, still gray. Maya opened the door. "You don't have to come in," she said, looking at the crumbling brick building. It's not nice, Leo." "I'm coming in," Leo said. They walked down the concrete steps to the basement unit. The smell of mold was thick. Maya unlocked the door with a key that stuck in the lock. She pushed it open. Leo stepped inside, and his heart broke all over again. It was a single room. No windows, just small vents near the ceiling. There was a mattress on the floor in one corner, a hot plate on a crate, and water dripping from a pipe into a bucket. Plink, plink. In the corner, a little girl was sitting on a mattress, wheezing. She held a bear with one eye. "Mama?" Zoe asked, squinting in the gloom. "You're back early." Maya ran to her. She checked her forehead. "I'm back, baby. I'm back." Leo stood in the doorway. He looked at the peeling paint. He looked at the empty fridge. He looked at the woman who had saved his life, living in a concrete box while he slept on Egyptian cotton sheets. He felt sick, physically sick with guilt. "Is that a doctor?" Zoe whispered, pointing at the man in the suit. Maya looked back at Leo. "No, baby. That's an old friend." Leo walked into the room. His $2,000 shoes stepped onto the cracked linoleum. He knelt down beside the mattress. He looked at Zoe. She had Maya's eyes. "Hi, Zoe," Leo said. His voice was gentle, unrecognizable from the CEO who had just crushed a man's wrist. Zoe Wasa. Are you rich?" Maya gasped. "Zoe, it's okay," Leo smiled sadly. "Yes, I am. Can you fix the heater?" Zoe asked. "Mama says we need money to fix it. It's cold." Leo looked at the small, rusted electric heater in the corner. It was unplugged. "I can fix it," Leo said. He stood up. He turned to Maya. Pack a bag, he said. Maya blinked. What? Pack a bag for both of you. Essentials only. Teddy bear, medicine, clothes. Leo, we can't just leave. I have rent paid until the end of the week, and Maya. Leo cut her off. He walked over to her. He took her hands. Her rough, calloused hands. Look at me. Look at where we are. He gestured to the dripping pipe. You walked 6 miles from me, Leo said, his voice cracking. You gave me the last quarter you had. Do you think I'm going to let you stay in a basement for one more second? But where will we go? To my house, Leo said. I have 10 bedrooms. Pick one. Pick all of them. I don't care. But you are leaving this hellhole right now. Maya started to cry. Silent, overwhelming tears. I can't pay you, Leo. I don't have anything left to give. Leo reached into his pocket. He pulled out the 1995 quarter. He pressed it in her palm and closed her fingers over it. You already paid, Leo whispered. You paid in advance. The elevator ride to the top of the Sterling Tower took 40 seconds. It was a glass capsule that climbed the spine of the city, rising above the smog, above the noise, above the struggle. Maya stood in the corner of the elevator, clutching her plastic bag of clothes like it was a lifeline. She watched the numbers climb. 40, 50, 60, her ears popped. Zoe held Leo's hand. The little girl wasn't scared. She was mesmerized. She was touching the fabric of Leo's pants, looking at the golden buttons on his cuff, soaking in a world she had only seen on TV. The doors slid open. They didn't open into a hallway. They opened directly into the living room. It was a space that defied logic. The ceiling was 20 feet high. The walls were made of glass, offering a 360-degree view of the skyline. The furniture was white leather, chrome, and marble. It looked less like a home and more like a museum of success. Maya stepped out onto the plush white carpet. She immediately looked down at her sneakers. They were gray, worn, and dirty. Every step she took felt like a violation of this perfect, pristine space. It's warm, Zoe whispered. The little girl let go of Leo's hand and walked to the nearest wall. She touched it with her palm. Mama, the walls are warm. It's radiant heating, Leo said, closing the elevator down. The floors are heated too. Maya stood by the door, unable to move. She felt the heavy, suffocating weight of imposter syndrome. She was a woman who counted pennies at the grocery store. She was a woman who put water in the milk to make it last longer. She didn't belong here. Leo, Maya said, her voice trembling. I can't be here. Look at me. Look at this place. I'm going to ruin your carpet. Leo turned. He was taking off his tie, throwing it carelessly onto a $10,000 sofa. Carpets can be cleaned, Maya. Lungs cannot. He pulled out his phone. He dialed a number. Dr. Evans? It's Sterling. I need you at the penthouse. Now. Pediatric respiratory issue. Yes, bring the portable nebulizer. 10 minutes. He hung up. The best pulmonologist in the state is on his way. I don't have insurance, Maya said automatically. It was a reflex born of poverty. I'm the insurance, Leo replied. 20 minutes later, the living room was a makeshift clinic. Dr. Evans, a man in a sharp suit who smelled of antiseptic and expensive cologne, was listening to Zoe's chest. Zoe sat on the white sofa, eating a bowl of fresh strawberries Leo's private chef had brought out. She looked like a princess in rags. Dr. Evans pulled the stethoscope away. He looked at Leo, then at Maya. She has chronic bronchitis bordering on early-stage emphysema, the doctor said bluntly. Her lung capacity is at 65%. The mold spores in her bloodstream are significant. Maya put a hand over her mouth. A sob caught in her throat. Is she going to be okay? Now? Yes, Dr. Evans said, packing his bag. But if she had spent another winter in that basement, the next pneumonia would have been fatal. Her lungs were drowning, Mrs. Williams. The words hung in the air. Fatal. Maya looked at her daughter. Zoe was laughing at a cartoon on the massive TV, oblivious that she had been slowly dying in the dark. The realization hit Maya like a physical punch. She had been working herself to death, scrubbing floors, running 6 miles, and it hadn't been enough. She had almost lost the only thing that mattered. Leo walked the doctor to the elevator. He handed him an envelope. "Thank you, Arthur. Send the bill to the company." When Leo returned, Maya was standing by the window, looking out at the city. She was crying silently. The tears ran down her cheeks, dripping onto the windowsill. "Maya," Leo asked softly. She turned. Her eyes were fierce, filled with a sudden, sharp anger. "Why?" she asked. "Why what? Why did you come back?" Maya's voice rose. "You got out, Leo. You won. You escaped 8th Street. Why did you look for me? Why did you bring me here? Is it guilt? Did you feel bad for the poor girl who helped you? Do you want to pet the stray dog?" "Maya, stop." "No." Maya shouted, the stress of 20 years exploding. "I don't want your pity. I don't want to be your charity case. I gave you that quarter because I wanted you to fly, not because I wanted you to come back and save me. I have pride, Leo. I have dignity." She was shaking. She was screaming at a billionaire in his own castle. Leo didn't yell back. He didn't get angry. He walked over to a wet bar in the corner. He poured a glass of water. He walked back and handed it to her. "Drink," he said. Maya took the glass. Her hands were trembling so hard the water splashed over the rim. "Come with me," Leo said. "Where?" "To my office. There is something you need to see. If you see it, and you still want to leave, I will drive you back to the basement myself. I won't stop you." Maya wiped her face. She nodded. They walked down a long hallway lined with modern art. Leo opened a heavy oak door at the end. His office was different from the rest of the house. It was dark, wood-paneled, smelled of old books and tobacco. But the walls were covered. Maya walked in. She looked around. She gasped. On the wall behind the desk was a massive painting. It wasn't abstract art. It wasn't a landscape. It was a bus. A gritty, realistic oil painting of the number 42 crosstown bus driving through the rain. And in the window of the bus, a small boy with a terrified face was looking back at a girl standing in the street. Maya walked closer. The girl in the painting, it was her. The artist had captured the unraveling braids, the holes in the coat, the defiance in the posture. "I commissioned that 10 years ago." Leo's voice came from the doorway. "It was the first thing I bought when I made my first million." Maya spun around. She looked at the other walls. They were covered in framed blueprints, schematics of planes, maps of shipping routes. "Look at the names," Leo said. Maya looked at the blueprint of a massive cargo ship. The name painted on the hull in the drawing, the Maya. She looked at a schematic for a new logistics hub in London. The name of the building, the Williams Terminal. She looked at the tail number of the jet she had cleaned that morning. M, 1998. Maya, 1998. "You named them after me," she whispered. "I named everything after you," Leo said, walking into the room. He stood in the center of his empire, looking vulnerable for the first time. "Maya, you think this is charity? You think I'm paying you back for a bus ticket?" He shook his head. "You didn't just buy me a ride. You bought me a life." That day at the bus stop, I was going to give up. I had decided that if the driver said no, I would jump off the bridge on 9th Street. I was done. I was tired of being hungry. I was tired of being the ghost. Maya covered her mouth. "Now, you saved my life twice," Leo said intensely. "Once with the quarter, and once with your belief. You looked at me and you said, 'Go get famous.' You ordered me to succeed. Every time I wanted to quit, every time I was tired, every time I was lonely, I heard your voice. 'Go get famous.' Then buy me a limo." He walked over to his desk. He picked up a model of a truck. The logo, Atlas Transport, was painted on the side. "Do you know why I called the company Atlas?" Leo asked. Maya shook her head. Atlas was the titan who held up the sky, Leo said. Everyone thinks Atlas is the strong one, but they forget someone had to hold up Atlas before he could hold the world. He looked at her. You are my Atlas, Maya. You held me up when I was falling. Everything I built, every dollar, every plane, every brick, it rests on your shoulders. You aren't a guest here. You aren't a charity case. He slammed his hand on the desk. You are the majority shareholder of my soul. This isn't my house. It's our house. Because without you, there is no Leo Sterling. There's just a wet spot on the pavement under the 9th Street Bridge. Silence filled the room. Heavy, thick, transformative. Maya looked at the painting of a bus. She looked at the man who had built a kingdom just to honor a ghost from his past. The anger drained out of her, replaced by a warmth that spread from her chest to her fingertips. You really were going to jump? She asked softly. I was on the edge, Leo admitted. You pulled me back. Maya took a deep breath. She looked down at her gray uniform. I look ridiculous, standing in a billionaire's office in a janitor's suit. Leo smiled. It was the first real smile she had seen on him. It reached his eyes. We can fix the clothes, Leo said. We can fix the basement. We can fix the lungs. He reached out a hand. But I can't fix the loneliness, Maya. I've been alone for 20 years. I have 3,000 employees, and I don't have a single person who knew me when I was Leo. Stay, not because you're poor. Stay because I need my friend. Maya looked at his hand. It was open, waiting, just like her hand had been 20 years ago with the quarter. She reached out. She took his hand. It was warm, solid. Okay, Maya whispered. I'll stay, but on one condition. Anything, Leo said immediately. Name it. A plane? An island? Maya squeezed his hand. A mischievous spark returned to her eyes, the same spark from the 11-year-old girl in the rain. No islands, she said, but you promised me a limo 20 years ago, and I'm really tired of walking. Leo laughed, a loud, booming sound that startled them both. Deal, he said. Tomorrow we go car shopping. But tonight we have one more thing to do. What? We have to burn that uniform, Leo grinned. And then I want to introduce you to the board of directors. The board? Now, I look like a mess. No, Leo said, opening the door and leading her out. You look like the owner. The bonfire in the marble fireplace was small, but it burned bright. The fuel was gray polyester. Maya stood watching her cleaning uniform turn to ash. She watched the Atlas Transport logo curl up and vanish. It was the most satisfying smell in the world. Leo stood next to her, handing her a glass of champagne. To the end of scrubbing, he said. Maya clinked her glass against his. To the end of walking, she replied. 6 months later, the transformation was complete. Zoe wasn't wheezing anymore. She was running. She was sprinting across the private lawn of the Sterling estate, chasing a golden retriever puppy Leo had bought her. Her lungs were clear. Her laughter rang out like music, bouncing off the glass walls of the penthouse. Maya watched from the balcony. She wasn't wearing a gray jumpsuit. She was wearing a cream-colored silk blouse and tailored trousers. She looked like the queen of the city. She didn't just live there. She worked there. Leo hadn't made her a housewife. He had made her a partner. Maya was now the director of the Quarter Fund, a charity that provided transportation grants for students from the inner city. She ensured no kid ever missed an interview, a class, or a doctor's appointment because they couldn't afford the bus. That afternoon, Leo walked onto the balcony. He looked tired, the good kind of tired that comes from building something meaningful. I have something for you, Leo said. Come downstairs. Leo, you've given me enough, Maya smiled, turning to him. Zoe is healthy. We have a home. I don't need gifts. You do need this one, Leo said seriously. I made a promise 20 years ago. I intend to keep it. They took the elevator down to the garage. The garage was a museum of cars. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, vintage Porsches, but in the center, covered by a silk sheet, was something massive. Leo pulled the sheet off. Maya gasped. It was a limousine, but not just any limo. It was a vintage 1998 Rolls-Royce Silver Seraph. Immaculate, shining black. A limo, Maya whispered, tears pricking her eyes. You remembered. Look at the license plate, Leo said. Maya walked around the back. The custom plate read, MYQTR, my quarter. I hired a driver for you, Leo said, leaning against the hood. He's on call 24/7. You will never walk in the rain again, Maya. Never. Maya ran her hand over the cold metal of the car. She thought about the 6 miles. She thought about the blisters. She thought about the girl who gave away her bus fare. She turned to Leo. He was watching her with an intensity that made her breath catch. It's beautiful, Leo. But she walked over to him. She stepped into his personal space. I don't need a driver. You don't. No, Maya Guispirth. She reached up and fixed his tie. I like riding with you. Leo smiled. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the 1995 quarter. He held it up between them. This coin, Leo said softly. It didn't just buy a bus ticket. It bought us time. It bought us this moment. It was a good investment, Maya said. The best I ever made. Leo leaned in. The distance between the boy on the bus and the girl in the rain finally closed. He kissed her. It was a kiss that tasted of rain, of redemption, and of a promise kept against all odds. Upstairs, Zoe was laughing. Outside, the city moved on, but in the garage, 2 people who had saved each other finally stopped running. Video fades to a montage. Maya handing out bus passes to kids, Leo and Maya holding hands at a gala, Zoe playing with the dog. Narrator: Maya gave her last quarter to a stranger and walked 6 miles in the rain. She thought she lost 25 cents. She actually invested in a future worth billions. Leo learned that you can build an empire, but it's just a pile of rocks until you have someone to share it with. He kept his promise. He paid her back, not because he owed her, but because he loved her. Today, the Quarter Fund helps 5,000 students get to school every day. We often think we have nothing to give. We think we're too poor, too small, too broken. But Maya didn't have money. She had a choice. She chose kindness over comfort. That choice changed the world. If you're watching this and you are struggling, keep walking. Your bus is coming. Your Leo is out there. And if you are sitting in a seat of power, remember who paid for your ticket. Look around. Find the person walking in the rain and open the door. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this story if you believe one coin can change a destiny. Comment, I promise, if you would help a stranger in need. Thank you for watching.